We are skipping ahead quite a bit. The original is 1974. We are skipping ahead to 1986 with Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. Mark Skews, where do you have this?
I have this as number 2. I love this movie.
We almost agree, dude.
This movie is incredible. Number 1. Okay. All right. So you are forgiven for...
This is my number 1.
Yeah.
I fucking love this. I was so worried you weren't going to like it. Because to me, this is Child's Play 2. They just went insane. They go crazy. I thought you were going to have this at 5.
No. I call this the cocaine bear.
I literally have in my notes cocaine. Okay, all right. Well, let's get into it. I'm so happy you have this high. This I put it specifically over beside me.
It's so good.
I love part 2. Yeah. It is fucking madness, and I love it for it. Yeah. Okay. So this is. That's an acceptable one. It's an acceptable one. Yeah. All right. Is your prediction going to come true? Because we've hardly been off yet.
And I will say before you start the plot, I will give you that because it's so different from the first one that they're almost like, I can totally understand why you would put this at number 1. I have to pay respect to the first one.
Yeah.
But this movie is incredible.
It's so fun. Yeah. So fun. Okay. 12 years later.
12 years, yeah.
That's insane to do a sequel that fucking later. Toby Hooper returns, and we are now deep in the fucking 1980s.
Yep.
And to prove it, what does it open with? See if you can get this. The first thing we see when the movie opens, do you know what it is?
I don't have a note of it.
The Canon Films logo.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yes. Yeah,
yes.
Yeah, I have a note that it's Canon Films.
Canon Films, buddy. Yeah. For those for the uninitiated, Canon Films was this. I'm not going to get into the whole history. You can look it up yourself. But they were this scrappy little film production company that had some very shady business, some questionable business practices. Yep. But they weirdly cranked out a ton of really fun movies from the 80s, and they were just a mass producing, just cranking out films, mostly action and horror and schlocky shit.
Justin and I have taken many hours of good entertainment from Canon movies.
The funny thing about Canon is like most of them aren't. You'd never say they were critically incredible.
No.
But a lot of them are really fun and awesome. Really good and just awesome. Yeah. And so that's your first indication of where we are in time right now is it opens with that Canon Films logo. Yep. Puts a smile to my face, buddy. It's like, oh, buddy, we're in for something. We then get another text scroll with a narrator informing us that Sally survived, but authorities were never able to locate the Sawyer family. So is that the first time they used the word Sawyer?
I think
was
so.
In the credits, I guess? Yeah. Okay. Maybe not. However, over the last 13 years, they keep getting sporadic reports of similar incidents.
Yep.
Meaning, the Sawyer family is still at large. They were never...
They're active.
And they have been active. It's not like this is just, now this film, now it's the first time they're coming out of hiding. It's like, no. They've been doing this over and over again. We're just here now, later in time. We then get one of the things I don't like in this movie. We get this boring, basic credit sequence of red text on a black background. Ew. Stop. Come on. Give me something like it's a shit credit sequence. It's as lazy as you can possibly get. It's just black and then fade in text, fade in text. It's like, give me something, man. Whatever. The movie makes up for it in other ways, but it's a minor nitpick. Cut to a couple of wild party boys who are driving around drinking and shooting signs. Yeah. They're just like going on a road trip and they're like drunk and they're just... It's not nonsense. Absolute nonsense.
I gotta cut. I have a note here. Basic red credits over a black background accomplishes nothing. Justin is going to hate this. So
we're starting to know each other very well here.
I had a note for it. I just didn't have it at the top.
I can't stand it. It's just stop, do something. Even the original, the flash bulb, it's still like, it was evidence photos though. You get to see flashes of evidence photos. Like, that's engaging. Black, a wall of black and like text fading in and out. That's giving us nothing.
It counts as part of your screen
nothing.
time. Like, you could use it.
You might as well just hand me a fucking pamphlet before the movie starts and it's like, here's the stars in the movie. And then not have that fucking 3 minutes of just wasted screen time. Whatever.
In reference to the new characters that you were talking about, I have a note. We've traded hippies for yuppies.
Yes. Yeah. Right. Wild yuppie party boys. Yes. We get introduced to our main protagonist, Stretch, who is a female DJ who's hosting a radio station that coincidentally the party boys are listening to as they're driving. Intrigued, the fuck boys call into the station and harass Stretch as they continue to drive around recklessly. And for some reason, the station can't end the call because the boys won't hang up. Makes absolutely no sense. This makes no sense.
I have a note. Why doesn't the radio host just hang up the phone?
Yeah, later, sports. Just hang up, okay?
No way!
LG?
Damn it, I'm trying, darling.
Because the producer guy is trying, but he can't.
No, he can't.
I'm like, stupid. Apparently, if you call this radio station, they can never hang up on you.
So that's it. Literally, I've never heard of this step.
We got to keep them on the air.
Well, not only that, it's like, it's a radio station. Wouldn't they have even more advanced call technology than the average? Like, wouldn't they have a switchboard where they could take multiple lines?
Right.
But for whatever reason,
or just turn the volume down on them.
Right.
So
but for whatever reason, if you call in, unless you hang up, the radio station is locked into that phone call.
They are bound to keep your call going.
Right, exactly. So the party boys continue their joyride before encountering this annoying truck that comes out of nowhere and begins to fuck with them.
Yep.
Things take a terrifying turn as they realize the party boys just fucked with the wrong people. And we get this amazing opening sequence where Leatherface and company attack the other guys. The first Leatherface, so they're on this bridge and like the yuppies are going forward. The truck is going backwards, following them in like this perfect straight line. And Leatherface holds up a corpse, waving it around with like a Halloween decoration. Who's the corpse, Mark? You can get this. You totally can get this. This is a sequel to 1. Or did you never realize this before?
Like, who is it from the first one?
Yeah. Well, who's the corpse? So Leatherface is holding up a corpse. Who's the corpse?
I know this, but I'm drawing a blank.
It's Nubbins.
Yeah,
it's his brother.
Yeah.
It's his brother's corpse.
Yeah.
Yeah, his brother's corpse is kind of a character in this movie because he comes up, because later on.
And he's on the, He's on the cover.
Yeah. Nubbins. Yeah. Yep. So the brother from the first movie, Nubbins, who died by getting run over, they kept his corpse.
Yeah.
They move it around like it's still part of the family. It's fucking warped. So he's like moving it around and trying to and like fucking with the two boys, and the boys are like, "What the fuck?" And they like shoot at it. They shoot at the corpse, thinking that they got him. Leatherface then takes out this giant fucking chainsaw and begins slicing at the other car and literally like cutting into the fucking car while they're driving. Meanwhile, the entire time, Stretch can hear the audio because, as you recall, they can't hang up the call.
Right.
It was a plot point to make to set this
so
up.
So they could hear that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So the call is still going through live while the boys are being attacked by the Sawyers. Leatherface kills the driver before the line hauntingly goes dead. The call finally gets hung up. Cut to our introduction of another new character, Lieutenant Enright, played by
Dennis Hopper.
Dennis fucking Hopper. Yeah. Hell yeah. Enright is investigating the wreck from the opening chase we saw. So he's looking at like the wreckage of like the car that had crashed. Another officer shows up and tries to dissuade Enright, saying that this is nothing but a accident, and has no relation to the chainsaw murders that happened in South Texas 13 years ago. And it's revealed that Enright is actually Sally and Franklin's uncle.
Right.
So Sally and Franklin from the original film, Dennis Hopper is their uncle. And he's on the hunt for those responsible for... Sally's in a hospital, but Franklin died, obviously. So he is looking for the perpetrators of this. He has been on a manhunt.
I was going to say, you get the sense that he's been doing this for a long time.
Years. And he rolls up to the scene and he just immediately recognizes this wasn't any ordinary crash.
Right.
I think he sees like the chainsaw cuts in the car or something like that, like things that wouldn't happen from like a car crash. The other officer threatens to go to his higher ups to get Enright removed from the area. Enright calls his bluff and he relents, agreeing to put a notice in the paper calling for any witnesses. Instantly, gotta love Canon films. They just go.
Yep.
Instantly, it cuts to Stretch showing up at Enright's hotel room to recount her story and play the recording of the opening incident, the phone call that happened. And although initially hesitant, Enright agrees to let Stretch help him by using her voice on the radio to reach out to people. She wants to do some real journalism instead of just being a basic DJ. We get a little bit of character development here. You get to find
Not a lot,
not
but
a lot, a little bit. Yeah, just a little bit. A little more than Sally.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, there's a chili cook-off in town, and the winner is revealed to be Drayton Sawyer, which I think is the first time they name him.
Yeah.
So Drayton Sawyer is the father-type figure from the original, the creepy old man at the gas station, who then later joins with the rest of his familial clan.
Yeah. Even though he's one of the brothers, he kind of takes on.
We'll get to that. Yeah, we'll get to that. Yeah. So it's the character is once again played by Jim Sydow or Jim Sidow. I don't know how you want to pronounce it. Jim Sydow. I'll say Sydow. Jim Sydow reprises his role from the first film. There's a funny little moment where he actually wins the chili cook-off, and they're like, "What's your secret recipe, Drayton? What's your secret recipe?" And he's like, "It's all in the meat."
The second year in a row. This year, Drayton, you've got to tell the secret of that fabulously tasty chili.
No secret, it's the meat. Don't skimp on the meat. I got a real good eye for prime meat. Runs in the family. Whoop, whoop. It's one of those hard-shelled peppercorns.
Which the implication here is that his chili is made of human body parts, human meat. I love that moment.
Well, he's been selling it for a long time because remember in the first one, his barbecue business was just human meat.
Right, because he's got a little road stand. Yeah, where he's seemingly, I guess, selling human meat as barbecue. Maybe is that the implication you got?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I never made that connection before.
And again, when Sally is being quote unquote rescued by him in the first one, and he leaves, then comes back and starts smacking her with the broom, she looks around and takes note and realizes, oh, there's something going on here. I'm in trouble.
That's cool. I never caught that. I never made that connection. I thought this was like a new little business arrangement that he came up with. Well, in this one, he pushes it further than he did. But then he's expanding operations. Yeah, he's expanding operations. So then, what do we got here? Enright shows up at the radio station and asks Stretch to play the recording of the phone call where the two boys got massacred. And she initially hesitates because she's like, "We can't do that. It's against FCC laws or whatever the fuck." And then they relent, and then they end up doing it because they're trying to the idea is they're trying to either get somebody to come forward who knows something, or what Dennis Hopper's actually trying to do is lure out the people who caused it. So she complies and plays the tape, which draws the attention of the Sawyer family.
That's exactly what
Enright
thought
wanted. Yep. Later that night, Stretch gets some unexpected visitors at the radio station as Leatherface and his new brother, Chop Top, show up, played by
Bill
Moseley.
Yeah, I don't have his name.
That's
but
okay.
I know his history.
Bill Moseley. Yeah, Bill Moseley.
He was a huge fan. He made a fan film. Toby Hooper loved it. said, I'm going to put you in another movie if I ever do one. And here he is.
Yep.
Yep.
So they show up at the radio station to get rid of the evidence and the witness.
Yep.
So they're there to destroy the tape and kill Stretch. This scene we talk a lot about how jump scares just shouldn't exist. They just suck. They're just always pointless. It's the meow and the jumps out of the closet or out of the cupboard or somebody comes up behind you. No, this has one of I think my favorite jump scares ever.
Yep.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
I do. I've got a note about it.
So to set this up,
Yep.
Stretch is like she doesn't we don't see Leatherface yet. It's just Chop Top. He's the one that shows up first. And Sally and Stretch is just kind of like she immediately recognizes, okay, this guy's trouble. Like I don't know exactly what's happening, but this dude's trouble. I got to get rid of him.
Yep.
And he's just not leaving. And he keeps like
He
asking.
wants a tour.
He asks
Yep.
for a tour, and then he keeps like dragging this interaction out. He's asking question after question after question. And as she's trying to get rid of them, they're in this one area that's like kind of like there's like a desk and it's kind of like an open reception area. And they slowly inch their way to this doorway, just almost by like Sally trying to move away and him kind of pursuing.
Pinning her back almost.
And they reach this doorway, and through the doorway is like, I think it's supposed to be like the vault of like where all the records are, like the actual records themselves. And it's like pitch black. And out of fucking nowhere,
Yep.
we get the fucking, the lights come on and Leatherface is revealed and the chainsaw is instantly revved up and he just charges full steam right through the fucking doorway.
Yep.
Hey, maybe I could get a copy, and you could autograph it to a far out fan. Hey, what's in here?
Record vault.
Oh, where you keep the golden oldies, and maybe the new music's in there. Ow, not me! Get the girl!
I got a note. Leatherface flying out of the dark closet was a decent jump scare and carried serious threat. This wasn't some cat jumping down off the top shelf. It was Leatherface literally trying to kill Stretch.
If you're going to do a jump scare, this is how you do a fucking jump scare.
Because it's not a jump scare.
It's not a jump
There's
scare.
There's actual real
Right.
threat here, right?
Right.
Yep.
It's an actual, it's a scare.
Yeah.
Yeah. The first time I watched this movie, that shot made me like shit my pants
Yep.
because it just comes out of nowhere because it's so quiet and just you don't see it coming. You legit don't see it coming.
You're uneasy with Chop Top, scratching his head.
And
with
your focus is
yeah.
on Chop Top, so
Yep.
you're not expecting what's coming through the dark corridor.
Yep.
Yeah. So good. So good. So then Leatherface and Chop Top, after they get the evidence, they leave the station and they leave Stretch alive. Specifically, Leatherface leaves Stretch alive because she like runs off and locks herself in a room and then he gets in, but then she kind of seduces him and he kind of develops a little quick crush on her.
Yep.
So then he lies to his brother and says that Stretch has been dealt with and that she's killed. So then they leave. Not wanting to let the killers get away, Stretch pursues them. She hops in her car and follows them to some sort of abandoned amusement park or like some sort of giant attraction. Suddenly, Enright shows up, and it turns out he used her as bait. A trap door outside, no less, opens up, and Stretch falls into it. What is happening? Like, it's just like in the middle, literally, it's like the middle of this long driveway. There's just like this trap door that nothing seemingly triggered it. It just happened.
And she falls forever.
Yeah, and she falls like down. It's like something out of like Pee-wee Herman's, like Pee-wee's Playhouse of like, what is this? It's like this Tim Burton type attraction of like this nonsensical thing. And what follows is Stretch trying to hide from the Sawyer family and escape because this is their little hideout. This is where we spend the third act of the film.
Yep.
While Dennis Hopper is out for blood and just trying to avenge his kin.
Yep.
who were tragically taken from him from the events of the first film. It's so good.
It is.
It's so good. Yeah, it's so good.
I have a point that I wanted to start off with. I said, one of the things I love doing this show, right? I get the excitement of watching these movies in advance and then getting the chance to come here and talk to you about it. But every once in a while, there's a small piece of regret because in this movie, I felt that way. The reason for that is because as I was watching this movie, all I could think about was, man, I really wish I could watch this with Justin because this is the kind of movie that we would have enjoyed. We would have been
cheering the entire time.
So I'm like, I know that obviously being able to do the show is its own, great thing, but this all started just from our love of watching this crap together.
Right.
And this, of all of the ones in this franchise, yeah, you can watch the rest of them by yourself, but this one I really felt like, oh man, I'm missing something.
You almost got to enjoy. It's so madness. You almost need to have the group to enjoy.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
So had you seen this one before? You must have.
I think I did when I was really young, but I just didn't remember it.
You didn't remember what it was.
Yeah. I couldn't appreciate just how great it was at the time. Yep.
Well, let's get into it.
Yep.
My first point: this movie is coke-fueled '80s madness. Literally madness.
Yeah.
The opening chase scene sets the tone for the entire film.
Yeah.
It is off the rails almost immediately. This is all of the subtle. This is why I thought you were gonna have this a mid pick.
Yep.
Chainsaw 1 is classy. Mm-hmm. Chainsaw 2 doesn't give a fuck.
I made a note. It's just sleazier than the original.
Oh, in every
all
way.
The best
in
ways.
every way.
Yep.
There's nothing. The subtlety of that, what you're wearing. In case you didn't notice, I'm wearing the Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 2 shirt. It's all gone in this, buddy.
Yep.
It is a smorgasbord of madness. There's a chainsaw fight in this film. So Dennis Hopper is trying to track down this evil clan of cannibals, and he goes at one point to get supplies, and he goes to a shop and buys chainsaws.
Yep.
Why would you need to buy chainsaws? Why wouldn't you just have guns? Why, Dennis Hopper? Why do you need chainsaws? Let alone 3 chainsaws. Why do you need 3 chainsaws?
He's got 2 hanging off his belt.
He has 2 smaller chainsaws holstered, and then a big one that he carries. Why does he need those? Fuck you. That's why, because it's cool.
It's like he's a lawman, so he has access to guns. But nope. There's something special about using the chainsaw against the chainsaw.
In the middle of, he has a chainsaw fight with Leatherface. Leatherface gets a chainsaw put through him.
Right.
And just keeps going.
It's fine. He walks it off.
He just no problem. He's still in the fight. He's still acting. That doesn't instantly kill him. That's this film. Chop Top. Chop Top is madness.
Awesome.
He's just he's got this fucking metal plate in his head because he's a Nam veteran from Vietnam, and it's like this exposed metal plate where there's no skin. Like normally you get a metal plate, they put skin on top of that. The plate is supposed to be to protect your skull, but for some reason it's exposed. I don't know if that would actually ever happen. I don't know. I don't care. It's weird. It's creepy. Yeah. He's got this coat hanger that he's constantly because it's constantly itching where the scalp is meeting the edge of the metal, and it's constantly clear scabbing because he picks at it all the time. So he lights this coat hanger and he uses it to scratch the his scalp.
Then he eats it.
What is happening? This is crazy.
And there's a when you're first introduced to him, you can't see the plate. So he's got a little bit of cover over top of it, but not enough, right? So you don't immediately see that. That piece doesn't come off until the chaos ensues.
Yeah, it's he wears little hair pieces.
That's right.
It's not I don't think it's just a shitty little wig. Yeah, they're terrible wigs.
Yeah.
Leatherface's look in this movie is awesome. He wears a suit at the end of this film.
Yep.
In this movie, he's got an even more elaborate suit. He's got an even bigger fucking chainsaw. And Leatherface dances.
Yep.
Why does he dance? I have no idea. Do you know what I'm talking about? For some reason, the main actor who played actually I'm gonna hold that point for a second, but for whatever reason, somebody decided Leatherface needs a trademark thing that he does. And so they decided for this film, he's gonna do this little like jig. Yeah. The little so like he grabs every time he's got a chainsaw, right when he's about to do something with the chainsaw, he goes like
It's like this little shuffle.
Right.
that he does.
He does it so many times, like not once, not twice. I think I noticed it's like 6 or 7 times in this fucking movie.
Oh God! Oh God! Oh God! Get the girl! Get the
What a weird decision. I love the design of Leatherface. It just seems like it feels like an evolution of the Pretty Woman mask. He doesn't actually do any of the female masks in this movie. He only has the one mask.
I'm okay with that.
I'm okay with it too.
Yep.
I'm fine with it. The mask he has looks creepy. It looks even more weird than the first movie. It's less it's less haunting. It's more revolting.
Yep.
It's like more chunky with like ears and shit on it. Yeah, it's a great design. Shout out to Tom Morga, who, if you recall, Tom Morga, I absolutely love. One of my favorite Friday the 13th movies. Who does he play, Mark?
He is one of the Jasons.
Yes, he is part 5 Jason, one of my favorite Friday the 13th films. Tom Morga, he only plays Leatherface in one scene, but in my opinion, it's the best scene. He is the Leatherface in the opening chase scene.
Car chase.
The car chase, yeah.
One other thing.
Very good.
He also appears as, I thought that you would have this point. Tom Morga has a scene as one of the Michael Myers, I think in part 4 or 5.
I did know this,
So he is the only actor to have partaken or appeared in all 3 of those big franchises, right?
Tom Morga is the man.
Tom Morga.
If you ever get a chance, if Tom Morga is at a con, don't hesitate. He is so humble. He was so sweet, such a nice guy to talk to. Absolutely seek him out if he's at a con. He doesn't get enough love. Yeah, he doesn't get enough love. That was one of the better people that I met at like the horror cons. Yeah, I had a great fan experience with him. Leatherface is just there's so much wild shit with him in this movie. He like bursts through a wall at one point.
Yeah, like Kool-Aid Man.
Yeah, like he just goes right through the fucking wall. He dry humps a girl Stretch with his chainsaw.
Yep.
He like literally puts his chainsaw where his dick is and then like starts like grinding. Stretch has got her legs open.
Yep.
He starts like rubbing it against her crotch. Fucking chainsaw part 2, buddy.
Cocaine Bear.
Oh, right. One of the most fucking gnarly scenes. He takes, so like they kill. There's like a coworker at the DJ place.
LG.
Sure, LG, who's so similar to Joe Bob Briggs. I thought it was Joe Bob. You know what I'm talking about? I thought it was Joe Bob Briggs. I don't know if he was impersonating Joe Bob or what, but man, is he a Joe Bob Briggs-esque character. He's even got like the cowboy hat, and he's got a very similar type Southern accent. And he's been killed at this point. Leatherface takes off his face, puts it onto Stretch, takes the cowboy hat, puts that on his Stretch, and then starts dancing with her.
Yeah.
What is happening?
But he's not actually dead yet either.
Oh yeah, he's still alive. Yeah, he's still alive as well. Yeah. Oh, it's so good. I just have so much to talk about here. Do you want to jump in with a point?
Sure. Let me scroll back up. What do you think of Dennis Hopper in this?
Okay, let's get to. We can. I'll scroll down to Dennis Hopper. Wow.
Lefty, as they call him. You were calling him by his name.
I went with Lieutenant Enright because half the movie he's Enright. Lefty is like, call me Lefty. Then nobody calls him Lefty. So it's like it's kind of pointless.
Lefty and Stretch. I thought it was kind of stupid.
But nobody says Lefty, so I'm like, nah, Enright. You know, more people say like, Lieutenant Enright, what are you doing here?
Yeah.
He famously said on record it was the worst film he'd ever done. Did you know that?
And he was famous by this point.
Yeah, like absolutely. This is a name. This is a name.
Yeah. There's another entry in this series where you have notable actors who later would go on to become very famous, but this was kind of their start. This was not the start for Dennis Hopper. He was a very famous actor.
He was a get. That was probably deliberate. Yep. They were trying to get somebody with name.
And he's not in the movie very much compared to how much credit he gets for this movie. He's not really a lead character.
I like him.
Yeah.
I like the character. I mean,
it's over the top.
I'm going to guess we both love Dennis Hopper.
Yeah.
Dennis Hopper's fucking awesome. Yeah. Great character actor.
Yeah.
R.I.P. He died, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
Edit that out.
No, I'm pretty sure he's dead. I absolutely love the idea of his character. The idea that there has been ramifications from the events of the first film.
Yep.
That there is now somebody out for blood. That the Sawyers couldn't just do whatever the fuck they wanted and get away with it. That there's consequences.
Somebody got away.
Somebody got away, and that somebody had family.
Yep.
And that family is now out for blood. That person. I think that's a great motivation. It gives him a clear motivation that we can get behind, we can understand. This man is out for vengeance.
As it doesn't seem like a tremendous tie-in, yet it's better than some of the entries we're going to have.
And it also is pretty realistic.
It's simple.
It's just simple. I can get behind it. I like it. I think part of the problem with him is by the 1 hour mark, he just loses it and he's just running around and shouting. I would say 60% of what Dennis Hopper does in this film is run around the final set piece, shouting and screaming and wildly waving around a chainsaw.
The odd lightsaber chainsaw battle.
Yeah. He does have some he's got some badass lines in the movie.
I have authority from the DA's office to put you right back on the next plane to Amarillo.
Will you just do that, son? I'd like to see that authority.
Boys.
What the hell's going on here? That the American way of entering a man's home singing like that? Oh, I get it. The old fresher game, huh?
Boys, you never should have been doing this.
It's not a phone in. He said he didn't like it, but it's not a phone in performance.
No, not at all.
But I just think they didn't give him really much to do by the end. But I do like when he gets serious and has some good dialogue. It's great. He's got a good few good deliveries. I actually think the best, not the best. Sorry, I won't say the best scene. One of the most powerful scenes with him is when he finds Franklin's corpse. Do you remember this scene? It's right near the end of the movie because at this point, Dennis Hopper is trying to, they're in the hideout of the Sawyers, this gigantic amusement.
Do you remember what it's called?
No, what is it?
Texas Battleland.
Texas Battleland. Okay, yeah. It was some out of commission
a theme park.
Some out of commission theme park that's in some giant enclosure.
Right.
Hold that thought. I want to talk about this set. But he's chopping down the support beams, trying to make the place collapse. Right. And while he's doing this, he stumbles upon Franklin's corpse in the fucking wheelchair. And there's a powerful little moment where he's just
because he's obviously been
taken aback.
The corpse has been sitting there for over a decade.
Right. But it also confirms what he suspected, which was he may not have 100% known that he was dead.
Yeah.
But this is
now he knows.
Yeah, now he knows. It's he gives him that little bit of closure, but it also just reinforces that what he's doing is, just.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, good little moment.
Yep.
But yeah, no, Dennis Hopper's great. Yeah. Let's talk about the set. The final set is fucking awesome. Where is this? How did they find this? They didn't build this because it's way too big. They had to have found something, right? Because it's huge. Yep. It's huge. It's this abandoned attraction, but the majority of the attraction is underground.
So the way that I took it is there's this theme park above ground,
Right.
but then they've built their own kind of like hidden fortress underneath. So what the most of the third act takes place underground,
Right.
not in the Texas Battleland setting. I don't think people are meant to be down there. It's not.
I don't know, because I swear there was a few attraction
otherwise-
signs down there.
Yeah, maybe they've just stored them. I mean, look, they got corpses down there.
No.
Yeah.
But it's obviously out of commission, though. I don't think it's. I don't think it's active. So like, I think they just
No, for
found
sure.
this. They're making this their headquarters,
Yeah.
right? It's just like the set is just dripping with character.
Yeah.
It's like an endless series of maze, like it's almost like a mine shaft. That's what it feels like. It's like
That's a good comparison.
It's corridors and it's all dirt around you. Nothing's done proper. It all looks like a makeshift mine shaft. Almost like something you'd see out in like a cartel drug smuggling, tunnels that they created
To go under the border.
Right,
something. Yeah.
exactly. There's like random lights strung up everywhere. Like this is their home, but it's like so makeshifty.
Yeah.
There's so many great shots of this space. If you go down the tunnels, there's like corpses strung about everywhere, and then there's like random little art pieces that they've created of like they've taken the corpses and put them into like lawn chairs and shit. There's just so much character to this set.
I mean, it's ironic because they probably did this to avoid having to shoot on site, like to avoid location shots. They just built this set, on a set, right? But they actually did it. They did it well.
The amount of effort that went into this fucking place. That we got this like in the middle of this big underground cavern. There's like this almost like a giant banquet hall, and they have this huge long like dinner table.
Yep.
It's so fucking cool, man. What a cool set. Everything's like covered in cobwebs. It just feels I just love it. I can't say enough good about it. Let's talk about the Sawyer family a little bit. I think the idea of turning the Sawyer family, because you're like, where do you go after part one? The idea of turning them into a roaming group of murderers, I think is genius.
Yep.
I love the idea because like they set this up in the teaser where it's like events keep cropping up in random areas. I love the idea that there is this group of cannibals, like these murderers, that are just traveling around to all these small towns, setting up camp wherever, like this abandoned attraction, wrecking havoc, and then just leaving.
Maybe entering a cooking contest
along the way, right? Like they show up, cause chaos, and then just they're gone in the middle of the night.
Yep.
I think the idea of making them mobile, they basically never really do this again in the series.
Yeah.
I think it was a missed opportunity. I love that idea. The fact that like that it's so the idea that these guys could just show up at any time in your small town is terrifying.
As goofy as this one is, it's probably the best explanation as to why this family hasn't been caught. Because they're on the move now.
They're always on the move.
Yeah.
So it's like you might find their kill houses, but you haven't found them.
Yeah.
And you don't even know what they look like either, right? So, just great. The subplot of the because you talk about the chili cook-off, the whole subplot that the Sawyers are selling the human meat of the people they're murdering, and like it's actually like a business that they're taking seriously. Awesome.
Great.
That's such a fun idea. And the genius behind that is, of course, Drayton Sawyer. I want to talk about Drayton Sawyer. Jim Sydow, he's only in the first two. It's unfortunate.
Mm-hmm.
The man, this is actually his final film role. The man was 66 when he filmed this movie. Outside of Texas Chainsaw Massacre 1 and 2, he has like zero filmography. I looked this guy up. He was in like nothing. He is fucking awesome. He is part of what makes this movie for me. I love his character so fucking much. Drayton Sawyer. He's just so good.
His inclusion is almost more important for the movie and for the original than Leatherface. I mean, Leatherface, like we've talked about, he's kind of the marquee character, but Drayton Sawyer, the cook, is kind of the representative for the family, right? He does all the talking, right? He's the one that sort of generates the plot from that side of the story, right? So, I think it's disappointing to not have him continue on in the franchise. And I was very happy that he was back for this one.
He's so good, and they give him so much more screen time in this one than in the
As
first
they
one.
should.
As they should, and he earns the fucking screen time. He's almost like the comedic relief in the film in a sense.
Yep.
So is Chop Top. He's a better comedic relief than Chop Top in my opinion. I prefer the scenes with him. He's always just like ranting about like business and how it's so hard to get ahead in life and like how the little guy is always getting fucked and like held down by society. His design is great. He's got like, I don't think he has this in the first film. They hadn't assembled his look quite yet. He's wearing it looks like a butcher shop attendant outfit from like the 50s, and he's got like a little red bow tie.
Yeah.
Like,
I can see it on the front cover of the.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yep.
He's trying to make an effort to be presentable to society, and it obviously works because he's able to enter like chili cook-offs, and he doesn't stand out.
Right.
Everyone just thinks like,
there's the guy.
This great old Texan, this guy, this is a hell of a guy. This guy, he's got like his facial expressions in this are so fucking terrifying. Like he just constantly has like this sickly smile that's like clearly hiding like absolute psychopath or sociopathic mindset behind it. There's so much going on behind all of his sickly smiles. Like he is at times, I would say, just as intimidating as maybe even more intimidating than Leatherface in this film. It's just absolute great. He has a couple iconic lines that I want to highlight here. My favorite line of his in the whole film: "Sex is, well, nobody knows, but the saw is family."
Yeah. You got one choice, boy. Sex or the saw. Sex is, well, nobody knows. But the saw is family. It's family. Wait till Granddad hears about this.
Which that line is amazing. Yep. And they use that line in a couple other movies, like that the saw is family. I actually think they don't use it enough. I think it should have been like we're gonna get to it in a second. The third one prominently uses it. I think maybe one or two other ones you haven't, and that's like it. It's like that should have been one of those trademark things the Sawyers kind of always said.
Kind of links them together.
Yeah, where it was like the Sawyer bloodline. It's like they always believed in the saw because they were part of like the slaughtering business, not necessarily killing humans, but you know what I mean. Like that could have been a thing, like a family like crest.
I mean, they say it in this movie almost like a joke, but but
it's good.
You could say that straight and make it.
It's a good line. Yeah, it's a good line. I don't know. I didn't take it as a joke. Yeah. I took it as like he really means it when he says it, you know? So then I want to talk about like their lineage. This is where it gets fucking weird, their family tree. The whole series is very confusing as to who the fuck is related to whom in what way in this family. He makes a line. He has a comment. Okay, so when you saw the first movie, who did you think Drayton Sawyer was? Honestly,
I think he was
because he's way older than
he was presented as their father,
right?
And then you've got the grandfather, which would be his
right.
Dad,
That's what you think, right? He has a line. He says, "My younger brothers."
Yeah. Those damn coon shits on the way to the family. To stoop my shoulders, taking care of my younger brothers. It squashed the young years out of my life.
And it's like, what? He's one of the brothers? He's not their father? So it's like, oh, okay, so the grandfather, he's their father. Nope.
No. There's just no father.
No, there's just no father, right. Yeah. So in this movie, the living corpse from the first movie, he returns again. And he's 137 years old. Did you catch that?
I guess human blood keeps you going.
That's actually the implication.
Yeah,
so that's it. So Tobe Hooper that was his thought was he's basically somehow almost being immortal by feeding on young, youthful human blood.
Sure.
Yep. It's a little supernatural.
Freddy's nightmares.
Yeah. Why the fuck not? But he's just like this living corpse that is somehow lived to some insanely like ripe age, but he's not the father of these three.
Nope.
Who the fuck is their father? What I don't know. That bugs me a little bit, where it's like it seems like it was unnecessary. It seems like it would have been so easy to just go, he's the father, that's the grandfather.
These two are the brothers, right? Or these three are the brothers. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. They decided not to do that.
No.
I don't know. It's just needlessly, I don't know. It needlessly complicates things. They name Leatherface in this movie. He's given a name. I don't think neither of us remembers what they call him in the first movie. I think he just says your brother or something.
Yeah.
But
your brother sawed through the door.
Yeah. Bubba.
Bubba. Yeah.
His name is Bubba. I like that.
Yeah.
I like it. It's fitting. It's a good name. All right. I think that's kind of cool. I absolutely love the final scene with fucking Drayton Sawyer, with like all chaos is going on. Dennis Hopper interrupts the dinner scene in this movie is a lot different than the dinner scene in the original movie.
I made a note that it's almost like a what did I say? Like they're making fun of their own movie from the original. Like they I think if you look closely, there's also a bottle of ketchup on the table. I might have seen that.
Maybe it was barbecue sauce.
Maybe
though.
barbecue sauce, something like that.
I don't fault them for that. I put ketchup on ketchup, so that's okay.
To recreate the dinner scene from the original, or try to recreate the original scene, but it's almost like a satire of its own origin, right? Like they saw the first one, but they're like, no, we're going to go the completely opposite direction with this.
Right.
And
And so chaos is erupting, and like Dennis Hopper has interrupted the dinner scene. Stretch has run off. Chop Top is trying to chase her down. And Leatherface and Dennis Hopper are fighting on the table with chainsaws. And Drayton Sawyer's like, he accidentally gets slashed in the ass by like one of the chainsaws. He's like bleeding out.
Yeah.
And then like he takes like a grenade and he has this like, he delivers like this awesome monologue, and then he just blows everybody up.
Yep.
So he kills himself, the grandfather, Dennis Hopper, and Leatherface seemingly. We don't actually see it. It's just a big explosion off camera. Because of course it's a movie grenade and movie grenades, the explosion is as big as whatever they want it to be.
That's right.
That's how those work.
Right.
Yeah. Do you guys use those in the military? Why don't you guys use movie grenades? The kind that like create like giant napalm
like the atomic
explosions.
bomb grenades.
Right. Yeah. Why do you guys would win wars if you use the proper equipment.
Right. We wouldn't make it to the war.
Yeah.
But yeah.
You would you should start contacting Hollywood and get those grenades.
Right.
In the
Somehow
arsenal.
they have a line on movie grenades are so much better.
Yeah,
than
exactly. Do you want to pop in with any points you got here? I have a couple more.
Yep. Tom Savini. I mean, fairly obvious. Like anytime he's involved in a movie, the effects are going to be
Let's
that much
talk.
great.
That was actually my next point. Let's talk about the gore. So it was actually I misspoke. I said the first film he was trying to make it PG. It was actually this film he was supposed to make PG. What?
Yep.
The first film you might have got away with it. This film? Are you out of your fucking mind?
Yeah.
There's a lot of gore in this movie.
the first kill is a guy getting his head sawed in half.
Oh,
pretty much.
the head decap effect is awesome. Oh, what a cool fucking effect. There's literally like guts spilling out of a wall at one point. Like there's a lot of blood and guts. They hammer the one poor guy, what is it, LJ? Just gets like hammered in when they're trying to kill him in the radio station. Bill Moseley just keeps hitting him in the fucking dome
over and
over again. And then later, with his face, this is a haunting effect.
Yep.
His face is stripped off and his rib cage is exposed. And he like tries to help. He like unties Stretch, and he's like still semi-conscious before like finally like succumbing to his injuries. That's a pretty haunting shot.
Yep.
The tone of this one is a lot more comedic. That's actually what I was worried you might not like this movie.
No,
it's way more tongue in cheek.
Yep.
It's very black comedy, dark comedy.
Yeah.
That's in the first one though. People don't admit this. Tobe Hooper point blank said the original movie, it's meant to be it's meant to be black humor at times. And you see it more in the third act when Drayton and his two brothers are all just kind of going at each other. There's comedic moments. This one though, they cranked that up.
Yeah, I think the original like maybe they wanted to do a little bit of Three Stooges, whereas in part 2, it's all Three Stooges, right? I like that after removing LG's face, he puts it on Stretch.
Yeah, they dance. Remember I said they have their little dance. Yeah.
He makes her wear his face
to
like protect her for when he leaves, like as cover, like, put this on and they won't come after you. Oh, and it's dripping with blood still, like the way that it would be.
Yeah.
But oftentimes in a lot of these movies, after he's cut the face off, it's just completely dry. It's just the skin. I'm like, nope, that's not how that would go.
It turns into jerky.
That's right. Yeah.
It turns into jerky immediately. Although, speaking of gore, one of the disappointing things about this film, which I didn't remember this, it's got a very low body count. There's almost hardly any kills in this movie. There's a lot of gore effects. There's a lot of like blood and guts, but there's actually not a lot of characters get killed.
I'm all right with that.
Sally, there's no... One of the things I appreciate, no group of kids. This movie actually breaks formula.
Yep.
It's probably one of the last times you're ever going to see this in the whole franchise. Right. They pretty much always return to the formula of a group of kids runs into the Sawyers.
Yep.
But this one is like, it kind of does its own thing. And those are always my favorite sequels, when they actually try something different. Whether it works or not, but for me, it really works. Let's talk about characters. You want to talk about Stretch? What do you feel about Stretch?
She was fine.
Yeah, I think she's a better protagonist than Sally in the original.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, though, you're comparing two things that just can't be compared.
No,
right? Like
nope. I'm being a critic, and I'm ranking two things that I am. This is my life. I am tasked with ranking the unrankable. Yeah, she's played by actress Carolyn Williams. I think she does a really good job. Yeah, I think Stretch is one of the better protagonists in the whole series. They ditched the group in favor of a single protagonist, and the film benefits from it because we get more time with her.
Yep.
And we get to develop her. It's not just scenes of teenagers being like, hey, Sally, jibba, 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 jibba. Oh, Mark, you're such a jerk. Like, there's none of that bullshit. It's like, no, a lot of the movie just focuses on her and her little adventure. I like that she's a smart character. She figures out very, very quickly, this is the movie that really hammers home Leatherface is mentally compromised.
Yep.
He is clearly mentally handicapped. And she immediately picks up on that and starts using her sexuality as a weapon against Leatherface and seduces him. Mm-hmm. And that is why later he tries to protect her, is he develops a crush on her.
Yep.
That's good character writing. That's smart. I like the way she did. You go, girl. Use your femininity.
Nice.
Yeah, you got it, dude. She's I'm pro pussy, buddy. I'm pro pussy power.
You heard it here first.
Yeah. I absolutely love the final shot. They mirror the final shot from the first movie. Stretch goes insane and kills Chop Top with a chainsaw, and then just has like a like wild, like maniacal laugh, just like the ending of part 1. It's great. Anything else you want to?
Just to say that I should have hated this movie.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like,
yeah.
I have a note here that says,
why
is this the Bride of Chucky for the Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise?
No. No, I think
because it is the ham-fisted goofball.
Okay,
played for laughs.
Yeah, you know what? It probably is the Bride.
Yeah. What?
It's not the Seed, though.
No. Yeah.
We're getting to that.
What I would say though is, you remember when we were talking about the original just not too long ago, and I said I'm not sure. I'm concerned about where they're going to go from here, because you can't lead off a franchise like you do with the intensity of that first one, and then expect to duplicate that into a second movie, right? Like that's the kind of thing where lightning does not strike twice. It would be very tough to kind of duplicate that into another movie. And I think they recognize that. I think Tobe Hooper recognized, yeah, you know what? I'm going to go a completely different way with this. I'm not even going to try and make this a true sequel to the first one. I'm going to do something way outside the line.
I'm going to keep elements. Yeah. I'm going to keep elements, but yeah.
And I got to give him full credit for that, because
it has such a different feel than the first film.
It's the only way that you can pull this off.
Right.
And I think that he didn't try to do a little bit of this and a little bit of no, he went completely
off
in the office
rails.
and direction.
And some people hate this movie
Yeah.
because of that. Because it goes so far from the formula.
You know, if viewers, if you're watching this show that we're doing, and you can only watch one, okay, maybe watch the original. But if you get the opportunity to watch one other, this one should be it.
Absolutely.
Because it's just, you're gonna have an absolute blast.
You're gonna have
this
such
movie.
a fun, man.
Yep.
That's always my number
Yep.
one criteria for like what I like is like what do I enjoy watching the most?
Yep.
And I enjoy watching that. That's why it gets the edge over one.
This one, if I'm gonna go and watch another one again, this is the one that I'm watching.
Wow,
Yep.
high praise,
Yep.
high praise. Can I say a little nitpick?
Sure, sure.
Chop Top. How do you feel about Chop Top?
I mean, I think he's a perfect example of what this movie is, right? Just excessive in every. Yep.
I equally love and hate him. So one of the things I always was like, where the fuck did Chop Top come from? He wasn't in the first movie. So in case fans are wondering, like, where does he come from? He was overseas. He was literally
fighting in the war.
Yeah,
Yep.
he was in Vietnam,
Yep.
and then he came home because of his injury.
Yep.
So the timeline actually still tracks. So he just rejoined his family.
Yep.
The first two movies connect pretty well, actually, surprisingly. But yeah, Chop Top to me, he feels like a more annoying version of Nubbins, and Nubbins is kind of annoying. I don't know. I like him sometimes, but I find a lot of the movie, he just doesn't shut the fuck up, and it gets a little grating at times. My favorite moments with him are when he's annoying the shit out of who I think of as dad, Drayton.
Right.
Like, just Drayton is so trying to be the straight man between Curly, who's fucking Leatherface, and Larry. Well, no, Larry. So yeah, no, I don't know. It's all kinds of all over the place. I don't know.
Larry, I think, is the straight one.
Yeah.
And then
So that
Curly and Mo are the
right. But Drayton acts like
he's trying to be the Larry.
yeah,
he's trying to keep them all.
No. But Drayton acts like Mo because he's constantly bossing them around.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
true.
So it doesn't. I don't know.
Yeah.
it doesn't quite work.
You understand what we're trying to say, though.
Nope, they're confused. We're referencing
we don't
shit
even
from
know.
the 30s.
Yeah.
We've made it worse. No, but the Drayton, when he's like, all of his interactions with Drayton are great because Drayton's just like, oh, shut the fuck up. And you almost feel like you're Drayton, where you're like, okay, enough, Chop Top, shut up. Like the whole ending of the movie is just like, he's just jumping around like a jackass with Nubbin's corpse.
Fruit, dirty meat, don't cut it. Family standards only require the best meat in town. For money lost, I never. Ooh. Oh, man. Woo. Napalm. Fire in the hole. Woo.
He does it for like 20 minutes of the runtime, and it's like, it grates a bit.
Right.
It grates a bit. I like his design. I think it's a terrifying design. He's kind of got like a hippie outfit on, but he's a ex-military guy. I guess after the war, he like renounced violence or whatever, even though he's like clearly sociopathic and fucked up. He's got like stringy hair and this bald head and like this metal dome on the side of his head that he scrapes with a hot coat hanger. Yeah. It's a neat character.
You're not going to forget him. And
No,
there are a lot
yeah.
of characters in this franchise that are forgettable.
I just find what the comedic relief he brings gets old a little quick for me. Yeah.
Sure.
And that's actually one of my other points is I do think the movie is one of the longest runtimes in the whole franchise. It's 1:40, which is shocking for Canon films.
It is.
Needed to be cut down.
Yeah. Especially when you consider that there are scenes in this movie. I have a note here.
You going to talk about the deleted stuff?
No.
Okay.
In the actual movie, Stretch is running through the tunnels. There's a scene where she runs for literally 53 seconds. And I know that doesn't sound like a long time, but when you're watching it, that is a long time to just watch somebody running.
But it is engaging because the set design's so good.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah. Because we talked about the small body count. Did you know there are 2 entire kill sequences that were taken out of this film?
I didn't know that. No.
So disappointing. So they should have just kept. I think they should have. These are not going to get released now, too. So there was an entire sequence where the Sawyer family get into that, like, you know, like Drayton's like fucking truck that he's got.
Yep.
I don't know what you'd call it. His meat mobile. They all
wagon?
yeah, they all pile into the meat wagon, and apparently they then went out, and it shows them going out and hunting for meat.
Yep.
And there was an entire sequence where they come across a group of like frat boys, like they're like sports fans. And it's like after a football game, they're all drunk, and then like Leatherface just massacres this entire group of like football players in like a parking garage. I've seen the footage, and it's pretty wild. But they had to cut the whole sequence, and like that to me would have fixed this film's problem with the low body count.
Yeah,
and it's like if you just trimmed some of the shit like what you were just talking about, you would have had room for that, which would have justified the longer runtime. Yeah. There was also there was a sequence where they go to a movie theater and Joe Bob Briggs has a cameo and they kill Joe Bob Briggs. Yep. Why did you cut all this? I don't know. Missed opportunity. Yeah. Anything else you want to add?
Nope. That's pretty good. No.
My last thing I want to bring up, I've got it here represented on the Slash Cinema desk.
Yep.
The infamous Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 promotional poster, which is clearly referencing what? What is this?
That's the Breakfast Club.
That's right. How fun is this? I mean, this kind of tells you what you want to know about the film. It's like they're having fun with this movie. Yeah, and you too are going to have fun with this movie. That's clever, man.
But
I got to give them credit.
You know, you talked about the original being, produced at a time when Grindhouse was kind of the thing, right? But by the time this second movie came around, it was definitely slasher, right?
Yeah, and it's in the era.
Good credit to them to recognize that, horror has changed. We should present a movie that aligns with what the fans are looking for right now, and they absolutely knocked it out of the park.
Yeah, it's just what a fun little thing that they did. I'm honestly surprised the studio. Well, I mean, it's Canon though. Canon would do shit like that. Yeah, it's great. It's also rare for the time. Like now, everything's meta. Everything references everything. Now posters reference old posters, but like 86 to directly copy another studio's film poster. That's ballsy, man. That's fucking awesome. Yeah, this cover's fucking sweet. Yeah, so there we go. That's part two. Part two. My number one and your number two. Yeah, it's one of the greats.